and anyone else in the crew. Yeah, so us Dignity Platform team have been talking for a while about like the strategy, and we've got a really big vision for this project that we really want to disrupt the whole third sector, charity, and not only charity fundraising, but how neighbours meet each other and how generally people are invited to support the projects that they're most passionate about. Charities, what we call planet before profit organisations, or I would certainly call them that. So the organisations that are creating a greater quality of life for not just human life, but all life, and really looking at the long-term sort of view. So that's the kind of like big picture vision of the project. Enabling people to give in the way that they feel most able to and inspired to the projects that are helping the world most. And the kind of, so like another way of describing it is that we see the kind of current problem with continuing the way we are now is that there's a lot of people passionate about social change, about supporting charities and certain areas like homelessness, like the refugee crisis, like all sorts of issues. But the opportunities for how you support these projects is quite limited, and often ends up in a disappointing relationship between supporters and causes, right?
Yeah.
Where often supporters, these like passionate, resourceful, capable people, often are just reduced to a wallet and kind of nagged and pestered for £3 a month, you know. And then people who donate £3 a month get a phone call 6 months later. Can you donate £6 a month? No. Okay, never mind. No, don't worry. Junk mail, charity chuggers in the street stopping you, interrupting you, like, oh, have you got a minute? Can I just chat to you about the dying polar bears? And so yeah, we're exploring whether there's a way of fundraising with dignity. So we create a dignity platform as a web platform to enable that. And what I'd love to run by you guys is a question that is about, we've got a marketplace, and then we've got something called Ideaspace. And I feel like we ought to be testing both of them now, because they both feel like really important parts of our big picture long-term vision. But there's some feelings in the team that maybe we should just launch the marketplace and not Ideaspace yet. So I'd love to kind of explain how they both work a little bit to you, and then you tell me what you think. Whether you think it's too overwhelming and complex to try and get both of these things out into the world, whether we do the marketplace first, maybe we do Ideaspace first, you know. I'm just interested in whatever your thoughts are on it.
Sure.
I should be able to screen share on this. You haven't seen the website, huh?
No.
Okay, cool. So now you can see an endless mirror of yourself. And then, so this is the top secret version 2 of Dignity Platform Marketplace. So this is what it looks like. These are your neighbors requesting skills. So this person wants their plants watered while they're away. This person needs their bike fixing. This person wants a haircut. And if you can help this person with their request fixing a bicycle, they're going to donate £40 to your favourite charity. So that's the marketplace. No one earns money, just neighbours volunteer their time and skills to each other, and all of the money goes to charity. So that's how the marketplace works. So it supports.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Pretty simple concept, as in not easy, but simple. You know what I mean? Like for people to grasp on in one sentence.
Yeah. Volunteer your skills to your neighbours to raise money for charity. Yeah. So that is the marketplace, and Ideaspace takes this a step further, and rather than, like, as well as just leveraging all of those different ways, we can create a huge amount of money for the most deserving, inspiring projects just by meeting our neighbors and helping them with stuff. Ideaspace allows us to contribute in another way, which is with our ideas. So let me show you the kind of work in progress thing we have set up here. So this is something like what it could look like, just to give you a sort of idea. So you could be supporting a whole bunch of different projects, and you could pick your project on here. And Dignity Platform is a Planet Before Profit cause as well, right? So you'll be able to choose us as the cause that you want to raise money for, and also the cause that you want to offer your ideas to. So these are ideas that are actionable proposals, things that you think would make that charity or that project more impactful, more inspiring, ultimately more tempting for you to want to support, basically. So this is just kind of one way of laying it out, but it's more just the general idea that I want to convey to you. And this is, you know, don't get too lost in this particular platform. But the way it's laid out on here at the moment is that these are challenges. So this could be Oxfam saying, how can we spend less money on this? Or it could be Drop for Drop, or Life Water, or you know, Shelter, or Help Refugees, saying, how can we problem solve
like
this
a feedback loop?
Is so kind of, but supporters don't have to be limited to the challenges that the charities choose. There can also just be a, no, I just have my own idea that's nothing to do with what you've asked.
Like how did the
Oh, there's a real delay.
Yeah, go
Mm. I mean, for example, how would, if my mother, who has tons of to give back, wants to get in how to, how can she get back? Because, you know, that's potentially where the funds lie, with people with that disposable income. You know, how does she engage with that the first concept? Easy.
Yeah.
You know, she can give money to bloody everyone and support whoever she wants. So easy to grasp. You give us it in 5 seconds. Second one, I don't really fully understand. And thinking of someone like my mum, she wouldn't either. And that's potentially the market that you want to be aiming for, because it's where the money lies. You know, if you don't have a professional or something to give, bar money to throw at something, which is what most people have, because they don't have time, they don't have a skill, they don't really. You know, maybe a massive part of your fund will come from people who don't really want to do much more than give, but feel like it's done in another way. But yeah, like it's thinking about my mum, or you know, your auntie. You know, how do they give with, and how do they understand? You know, in comparison to the other one, where it's a 5-second explanation, done. I'm in. I've done it already. I've already given 100 quid.
Yeah.
You know, the other one, I'm still trying to understand it.
Yeah, sure. And some of that may be finding the best words to describe it, having the best visualizations to sort of show it. Yeah. But yeah, as a kind of concept, I want to hear this. This is exactly what I want to hear from you guys, your perspective on it. But I propose that I maybe just spend maybe just 1 or 2 minutes, maybe just 1 minute, just showing you a bit more Ideaspace, just so you can kind of finish getting the picture on that, and whether or not I've described it well, you kind of understand it fully. I feel like you've half seen the vision for Ideaspace, but to just finish that thread.
What it does.
Yeah. Shall I finish showing you this?
Yeah.
Ah, man, the connection's quite. I think there's quite a big delay. Can I describe it in one sentence?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Harnessing the collective intelligence of supporters to crowdsource solutions to social challenges.
That's good. You should write that down.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a few projects that do something along these lines, right? So there's like OpenIDO, which is an amazing project by like one of the world's leading like design agencies. Like big companies and NGOs and charities and governments come to these guys to tap into their amazing designer brains, and they create solutions to the world's toughest problems. But OpenIDO is something they created a few years ago, where you can pay them to take a challenge that you have. Like Coca-Cola may have a challenge around like how to get people to recycle more of their cans, or it might be, it might be Médecins Sans Frontières or whatever, or some government agency trying to encourage children to eat more healthily or whatever. And then they put it on their platform here, and this is what a challenge looks like. This is a little bit of a tangent, but just to kind of show this sort of thing already exists in the world a bit. This is a lot more complex and advanced, and a lot more advanced than Ideaspace would be, but just to sort of give one angle into how it already exists. This is the kind of narrative of the ideation, crowdsourcing, collective intelligence sort of process.
Is it a two-way process? So by that I mean, if I was to come up with an idea that, just use your example, gosh, people would recycle more if this was done by the manufacturers. Yeah. Is there that two-way loop, or is there any way of taking those ideas and putting them to you know what I mean, rather than like people coming with a problem? Is there I've got a solution to a problem, who might be interested in this solution, not from a I want to sell this solution, but just as I think this would be really great if a big organization could take this idea and do something with it. Is that part of it, or is it ever planned to be part of it?
Well, yeah, so the idea of this, and that we're doing with Ideaspace, is to have a completely open space where everybody can see each other's contributions. And so here on OpenIDO, you can see there's 570 ideas that people like you and me have submitted to respond to this challenge. And it is really important that the challenge is really well captured and described. Like, why are you setting this challenge? Why does this problem need solving? Who is it going to help? Like, what sort of things are you looking for? Brief is really important. Again, this is a little bit of a tangent from Ideaspace in a sense, but you're getting several hundred, if not thousands, of people contributing to problem solving an inspiring challenge that people think is going to have a positive social impact, and the results are just really impressive. And it ends up with like the top ideas that the community kind of like build upon each other's ideas, and they inspire each other and vote them up and down. And so you can see here, like, I don't know, you can see like the comments. Oh, you can see people like chatting to each other about each idea and stuff. Anyway, just coming back to Ideaspace then. So these are challenges just for Dignity platform, but so any charity or cause can be on here. And for example, we're looking at the moment, like how should expenses work? Like quite a big strategic decision in Dignity platform. Quite a lot of factors, quite a lot of complexity. And this is what the ideas look like, right? This is the bit I wanted to show you. So this question relates to, if you put a request on the marketplace saying, I need some painter decorating done for a couple of hours. Some neighbor can come and volunteer their time, but how are the costs of the paint and the resources managed? Like, surely the volunteer shouldn't have to pay for your expenses out of their pocket. So we're problem solving how to do that, and there's a few different ideas around it. And here's what I think is quite a pretty way of representing sort of competing ideas. And here you can see 8 people have engaged with this. And if you click comments here, you can see
we're not
the
seeing
arguments.
Your screen. Like...
Oh, shit. Oh, balls, sorry. Let me fix that. Da, 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 da. Well done. All right, cool. So yeah, these are the list of topics, right? And I just clicked on one of these, which was how should expenses work? And so these are a bunch of ideas competing against each other. So it should be managed in cash. It should be done on the platform. It should be the expenses should be paid by the hirer. No, they should be paid by the doer. You know, so this idea is very unpopular. No one likes that idea, and you can see why, because there's comments here. And then at the top is the most popular idea. 8 people have engaged, average rating 4.4 out of 5. And here's everyone's sort of discussion, you know, giving reasons. So that's kind of one way that you could make Ideaspace sort of look. But the idea is that charities spend a lot of time doing emails and messages that are like one-to-one, and they're quite inefficient. And if we could have a space where everybody can see each other's ideas and proposals, then they could respond to each other and build upon each other's ideas, and maybe save the charity some time, because they could, you know, tell each other why something can't be done, or it can be done, or here's a challenge around that. And ultimately, charities can hopefully evolve a little bit beyond their kind of often quite risk-averse ways of working, and open a door to some creativity and enthusiasm and new ideas that are coming from their supporter community, because some of their supporters have worked in the third sector for a long time and have a lot of insight to offer. So that's the premise of Ideaspace. Like, the marketplace is a new way to raise money that instead of nagging and pestering is connecting neighbors and giving by doing. And then Ideaspace is another way of inviting people to give to the projects they love, and also even have a say in how their donations are spent.
Yeah.
So that's the pitch of the marketplace and Ideaspace. And the place we're at right now is do you know Help Refugees? I think you do.
Yeah.
I saw you. Yeah, I saw you wearing a Choose Love shirt, I think, in one of your photos, Rebecca.
That's Connor's t-shirt I was wearing.
Yeah. Oh, it's mad. I didn't really know about them, I don't think, like a year ago or so. But
I've worked with them firsthand, and they're fucking incredible. Really incredible. They get shit done. And they, in those situations where it's fast thinking and less talking, they're super effective for people who need it the most.
Yeah, amazing. Well, so some quite exciting news is that we are officially partnering with Help Refugees.
Wow,
and so when we give them the green light, they're going to promote Dignity Platform to their, I think, roughly 250,000 supporters.
Wow,
and they estimate that.
Well done.
Yeah. It's a lot. Pasco, my amazing friend and beautiful collaborator in Dignity. So we kind of co-founded Dignity Platform together, and he's done a lot of stuff with them. So really exciting. And so we're going to launch that in London. They think about 100,000 or so of their supporters are going to see this promotion, and maybe 1% of them will join, you know, and that's like 1,000 people on Dignity Platform straight away.
And is this specifically for Ideaspace or Marketplace? Or sorry, Marketspace?
Exactly. Well, that is the question. Okay. That is the question we're finally leading up to. Okay. We've been definitely leaning more towards just releasing the marketplace. And my latest personal proposal is that after people have done 1 or 2 gigs, we start introducing them to Ideaspace and but yeah, that's it. Tell me your thoughts and questions.
So a little bit of my background. I've worked for Diageo for 13 years before I did this, and part of what I did there was operational improvement, project management, procurement, and finance. So
Diageo,
yeah. So, you know, Guinness, Smirnoff, all the biggest brands,
Okay.
basically, the alcohol company. So I would have done a lot of work within business improvement and change management, communications management, etc. And I've got a quite a strong opinion on this. And probably the most enlightening was the first 2 minutes of the call, where both of us just went, bam, love it, marketplace, get it in a second, and you've won us with that. Now that I know what Ideaspace is, and it took some explaining, but I get it, and I think it's amazing. No doubt, it's a fantastic idea, and will arguably have as big a contribution, if not financial. Do you know what I mean? But I feel very strongly that you should do marketplace first and grab people's attention with it, and impress the shit out of them with it as well, because I think a lot of people are going to have the same reaction as us, which is, fuck, that's so simple and so fucking clever. I'm so glad somebody's thought of doing that, because I've had a lamp that I've need fixed for 3 years, bucked it in the bin last week because I was like, I don't even know who can fix that for me. But if I could have put it on that platform, I would have paid any charity happily 50 quid for somebody to just fix that lamp, but I don't know where to go to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's loads of people like me that would happily, that have money but no time, or vice versa. And I think that is a big reason why you would do marketplace first. The second reason, from a project management point of view, and there's only 2 of us doing everything that we're doing at the minute, and it's bloody difficult to be single-minded. Plus, we learned a big lesson from our pop-up, and the first initiative that we did, where we ran 3 things at once, and people get confused. People are so easily goddamn confused. It's like, what are you doing? Is it yoga? Is it hair? What is it? And honestly, even from a point of view of running it, it can be difficult to keep all of those things chugging along in earnest, evenly, in your head. So again, I would say that throw everything in and be single-minded in what you're doing on Marketplace, but then follow very quickly in. While you still have people's attention, make sure that there's a link to the Ideaspace thing. While you've got people talking, you could almost talk to them about, and while you're here, seeing as you're the first 1,000 people to get on board, do you fancy trying this beta version of this? You're our people, you've got the followers, you've got the movement, and then introduce those lot to the next bit. And then, you've got more time to test and get those communications really clear as well, because that one sentence thing is super important. You need to be able to describe it in one go. Rather than have it, because you will be describing it to people elevator pitch style, where you don't have a screen in front of you. So people need to be able to just get it quickly. And once they know what you're already doing with Marketplace and you've impressed them with that, you've got an open air audience where people are prepared to, spend the time to get to know it, and then can have a more meaningful contribution to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that's not what you think yourself, but I totally get your excitement in wanting to harness, both things. But I think if anything that you may harm one.
Is the second idea your baby?
Oh, so yes, it's interesting you ask that question and phrase it like that, because before Dignity Platform, it's hard to even put a time on it. You could maybe say 5 years, but it began as a road trip documentary exploring different approaches to education, because I went to a very unusual, radical, democratic school that was very different to my mainstream schools and pupil referral units for naughty kids that I went to before. And so I was passionate about hearing the voices of all the people in the school community, not just the people at the top, the teachers and the head teachers, but it's for the kids, like where's their voice, and so exploring different models to school communities and trying to be objective and not saying we have the answers, but amongst us we have the answers if we'll just listen to each other. And so that project turned more and more into a web platform, even though my background is as a filmmaker and that's what I knew most. And so then Change the Future became a platform for people to change the future of communities, like cities, organizations, schools. So you have a community, you propose ideas, you vote them up and down, you build upon them, you argue for and against things. Ultimately, you can see the most popular, well thought out, collaborated on ideas in all kinds of communities, big and small, that we live in, play in, work in together. And so that's still remains such an important, beautiful vision to me. I think looking back, like my main challenge over those years was pulling together a team to pull it off. It's such a vast vision. I don't think any single person can do it on their own. You know, like you look at someone like Elon Musk, always in the spotlight or something. Like he's nothing without an amazing team. And I didn't have the leadership skills to build a team together around that. But yeah, to answer your question, honestly, definitely there's some elements of that passion for me, certainly, that's coming through into Ideaspace. Just tapping into the wasted potential, the currently dormant potential of each of us to immeasurably support the organizations that are essentially building a future that we're excited rather than terrified for our grandchildren to grow up in.
Mm-hmm. So I would say give it the time and space that it deserves and needs for people to absorb it, and distracting people with, because I think what you may end up with is that marketplace people, because they grasp it quickly, are going to be like, that's great, and they're not going to pay attention to what you're saying about the Ideaspace. And I think you would undervalue it by launching them both at the same time. So what I would say is get marketplace up and running, have everybody loving it, because they're going to, and then with that open-eared audience, give them the next bit, because they're going to be clamoring to support. You know, the people are going to be already all over your social channels, I'm sure. But you know, you've got an open door that you're pushing on then for the next one, which is more complex. It is,
and it's building trust with something that's more complex. It's important to grab that first. Like when you first started talking to us and explaining the idea, got marketplace first off. Second idea, not so much, but only when you took that time to explain. I'm now fully bought in. We'll always be there. We'll contribute whatever you need. You know, that kind of a way. But it took that time and it took that trust to go. Actually, that complex idea, I've got the time to listen now. I've got the time to explore it. But before, it was like, nah, exactly what will happen to the public, and people just won't take the time to work out what it can really do. If they're already invested in you, if you've already built your platform and they already trust you and your organization, then you can do anything. But it takes the time then to build that, you know.
And don't forget how people talk and communicate with each other as well. Like people, like I've no doubt at some point in the next day or two, I'm going to say to somebody that I meet, "Oh my God, you've got to hear about this amazing thing," and my instinct will be to talk about marketplace.
Yeah,
I will talk about Ideaspace as well, but my instinct, because it's easy and because I can relay that information, is I will relay that information in one go. What you don't want is, and there is another idea as well, but hang on, I might not get this right. Whatever, and then I'm going to explain it to you. However, if you launch marketplace, people are getting it. You're getting, and they'll talk about it. You're not really losing out in that instance, because then whenever you coming in with the Ideaspace afterwards, they're like, "Oh my God, do you remember I told you about that marketplace thing?" Because people have already got that. That's that conversation done. Well, they've got this other thing now, and it's really cool because, and then you've given people the time to digest one. It become their chatter conversation, and then you coming in with now these guys impressed me with this, but wait till you see this one, you know, and you've already got, as Connor said, that trust built up, so people are prepared to take the time to listen because they have to.
You may face a situation if launched now with Ideaspace, of attracting only the people who have those only the people who are having those conversations anyway, and they're employed within this sector, and it will just become an echo chamber of just the same old crap that we've heard for so many years that hasn't, let's face it, helped anyone, and isn't going to for the future of our planet. You know, if you gain that larger audience, you're engaging my mother, you're engaging everyone, and actually some of those ideas from people who are outside of the accepted norms are the most valuable. That's when change really occurs. You know, it's not when someone from Greenpeace says something. You know, it's almost the opposite.
Like the Ideaspace engage with that thoroughly, no problem, but I guarantee that our mothers will never look at it.
Not a chance.
They just won't. Whereas you see, whereas marketplace, they'll be all over that. And they're the ones with the disposable income.
Actually, all over it, like really, truly.
Totally. And it's actually almost, although there are lots of commonalities in the audience, they both have the ability to reach different people for different reasons. So I don't think you want to conflate those two things together as well, because then again, that can be confusing to people. So be single-minded in each of your approaches, and then you can target your consumer better and go after them ruthlessly.
Oh man, it's been very, 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 very good talking.
But it's really difficult. But
guys.
please send your baby to
Yeah.
camp for the summer. Just give your even given yourself that headspace too.
Yeah.
You'll come back and have more energy and more ideas and have it more cohesive than ever, because you've not just let your mind think. It's your everything, your the mind that we can't access, that's going to do you all your favors, but you need to give that time. Get out in the field and dance around a big fire, you know.
Come to Ibiza.
Come to Ibiza. Yes.
Yeah, man, it's like my sort of argument I've been given to the team thus far has included to send something like if we're not even sort of beginning to test Ideaspace now with like small small groups of early adopters who already get Dignity platform and have used the marketplace already, then, you know, like showing them the thing I showed you and stuff like that, then I've been fearing that we might it might just might drop the ball. I don't know if fearing is the right word, but like just believing that we, you know,
just trust that it's a good enough idea that it can stand a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm not talking about give yourself, 6 months. Do marketplace, do it single-mindedly, and know that once you've got it launched and up and running, it's going to start to take care of itself. So that frees your brain up and also it gives you that bit of a distance from it to be able to have those elevator speech conversations where you start to get really cohesive about how you explain it and how you tie it to the marketplace that people already know. Just trust yourself. Give yourself a date when you're going to switch back on again, when you're transitioning across. Put out, I'm sure you've got Gantt charts coming out your ears, but actually plan out that time of, launch marketplace, and after 2 weeks or something like that, and then you move it into launching the next one, and how you're going to transfer and maintain the momentum from one end to the other. I'm sure you've got marketing or communication professionals talking to you, or if you don't, put that idea, put it up onto the the community that you've already gathered, and get somebody to help you plan that out.
Help Refugees told us that they have a WhatsApp group for like a small group of super proactive volunteers who help them with events and are just like, they're almost like their extended team. And they said that they would be a perfect group, or we worked out together that they would be a great group to start rolling out the marketplace to first, like a pre-launch before hitting their whole, 250,000 supporters. We can have this really forgiving, extra passionate, sort of helpful group of people who will use it, and it will be very active and alive. And so, perhaps there might be that we might do a similar process, perhaps with Ideaspace, with them further along. So something like that.
If you've got that kind of that transition plan where you're going to go from, you're ramping it up, basically, that sounds perfect. So you can put that plan into your post marketplace launch. Give yourself 2 weeks after that we launch the WhatsApp group. We gather feedback from that. Do any testing. Do any improvements that need to be made based on the feedback. Then, or even if you don't want to release it to that group first, have 6 testers, have people. I mean, it's already up and running, so I'm sure technically it's fine, but give yourself 2 week stages for each bit, and then if you can actually take time away from it, as in bring the timelines forward because it's going better than you imagined, well then you've got the freedom to do that because marketplace is already launched. But you give yourself that really flexible opportunity to be agile and get all of the different plates spinning that you need to make sure that your communications are really clear, because I think you need to be testing communications as much as anything else. Do people get it?
Yeah. Crumbs. Wow, guys, thanks a lot.
And sorry, and one also heads up on the WhatsApp group. You're preaching to the converted there. Do you know what I mean? You're preaching to an audience who are already incentivized damn near to say, and who are already in that headspace. Ultimately, you're going to get the most value to doing that communication testing with people who either don't work in the corporate space or the third sector or any of those that aren't that sort of person So, you know, try and diversify that base if you can in some way.
But so do you think it's still good to kind of like get the small end of the wedge in first and give Dignity platform in its early forms? Like, because we'll be constantly tweaking it and improving it. And I'm sure there'll be a bunch of things we weren't expecting. Like people might just, you know, use the like title their offers and requests really weirdly, or get confused by something, and we realize we can make that clearer, or the payment processing has some problem or whatever.
Have you ever done anything within communications or change management planning?
Well, I guess I work in and around communications as a filmmaker. So my main income is working freelance as a filmmaker, producing promotional videos for Planet Before Profit organizations.
Okay. No, well, what I'm specifically referring to is a super wanky corporate like program of how to communicate change within a business. However, it's a business as big as something like Diageo or any big FTSE 100 company is essentially just like doing it to members of the public. And what they do is they will carve out how people are going to interact with your project or with your new technology or your website or whatever. And there are people who are going to be, it's like a grid. Now, I can't remember the exact words that are on the grid, but it's something like your early adopters and your, you know, like that sort of style. But it's very intentional that there should be people within that group to communicate to in your communication planning that you should expect, and you should have thought in advance of, how do I communicate to somebody who thinks this is shit? And or who is actually going to go against me in trying to bring this.
Oh, are you there still? Hello? Are you still there, guys? Hello? Hello?